Bird sale from December the 22nd to the 24th from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. You, our customers, will receive a big 10% discount store-wide. Hop in and get shopping. It's Survival Supermarket Early Bird Sale. 10% discount just for you on December the 22nd to the 24th from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. 3 hours of fun for 3 days at our Survival Supermarket Sharp Street branch. Shop Price Smart with Survival.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast in Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. Let's get to the news in detail. Newly elected leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Norton, on his first day of taking over the reins of the party, immediately put on notice his political opponents in the PPPC administration that it would not be allowed to rob the nation of its resources through a corrupt cabal. Norton gave this stern warning today, minutes after being formally declared the leader of the party following its 21st biennial congress on Saturday last. Delivering remarks for the first time as PNCR leader, Norton immediately drew attention to the recent amendments tabled by the administration regarding changes to the Natural Resource Fund, the depository for Guyana's oil earnings. In the Natural Resource Fund Bill of 2021, the PPPC administration has proposed several penalties for an official who discloses confidential information or provides misleading data about the nation's oil money. Noticeably absent, however, is a fine or jail time for anyone found guilty of abusing or misappropriating the oil revenues. When Guyana had pursued the creation of its first NRF legislation back in 2018, it was warned to have clear penalties in place for the abuse of the oil fund. This advice was provided by the Natural Resource Governance Institute, which also cited numerous examples from around the world on how often natural resource funds become easily mismanaged and the perpetrators go unpunished. In other news, the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs last year purchased a quantity of agricultural tools for distribution to various communities, spending some $27.1 million. But of the almost 3,000 pieces of equipment that were purchased, only 59 had been distributed. This was unearthed in the audit of the government books for the year 2020 conducted by the Audit Office in Guyana, under the auspices of its substantive head, Deodat Sharma. According to Sharma, in his findings, the sum of $27.75 million was expended on the purchase of agricultural tools for hinterland communities. The equipment purchased included swing fog machines, brush cutters, and steel chainsaws. In other news, with 2 members receiving equal number of votes for the position of vice chair of the PNCR, there will have to be a by-election held in order to decide on the individual to fill the slate. This was confirmed today by PNCR CEO Vincent Alexander. Those tied for the position are Christopher Jones and Vince Roy Jordan. He gave the announcement today as the certified results were handed over to the party. And in other news, a manager and a subcontractor attached to the Adamantium Holdings company were on Monday slapped with $150,000 bail each for fraudulently obtaining $1.1 million from the said company for the delivery of 64 truckloads of laterite, but failing to deliver same. Appearing at the Georgetown Magistrates Court were 44-year-old Mervyn George of Victoria Avenue, Eccles, East Bank, Demerara, and Daniel Baker of Mahaica, East Coast, Demerara. The duo was not required to plead to the indictable charge, which alleges that between October 31st and December 10th, with the intent to defraud, they obtained the sum of $1.1 million from Adamantium Holdings by falsely pretending they delivered 64 truckloads of laterite, knowing same to be false. And to wrap things up this evening, let's tell you that as criticisms continue to pour down on Exxon's Yellowtail Development Environmental Impact Assessment, an international organization, Environmental Law Alliance Worldwide, has said that the consultancy firm Environmental Resources Management's conclusions on marine mammals is not only incorrect but unsupported by evidence. Melinda Janke, an international lawyer, has submitted to the EPA that ESSO, which will be undertaking the Yellowtail project in Guianas waters, must first get its environmental impact assessment right before permits are granted. In her submissions to the EPA, the international lawyer of over 30 years said it is clear that the assessment produced by ERM contains conclusions that are contrary to science, gives assurances that are unsupported by evidence, and lacks the technical and other data necessary to provide an adequate professional assessment of the environmental impacts of the proposed Yellowtail project. And with that, we've come to the end of this evening's newscast. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Coming up next is the National Outlook with GHK Lal, after which a short presentation will be played by the publisher of the Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Law, and at 19:20, the Glenn Law Show. Tell it as it is. Don't miss it.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to the National Outlook on Monday, December 20th. We are in Christmas week. My fellow Guyanese, pleasant Christmas greetings wherever you are, season's greetings wherever you are. And unfortunately, for a couple of programs this week, we're going to have to talk about something that I avoid usually. We're going to have to talk about oil, and perhaps as much as I don't want to speak about oil because it dominates this news network, I feel that I need to. Government to dominate oil fund committees, President, Minister to make all appointments, no room for media transparency groups. This is from last Friday's edition of Kaieteur newspaper.